Okay, I'm now on the south side of Dundurn Hill. I've just had an encounter with the mountain goats up there. I don't really know. I don't really think they knew what to do with me. I sort of came up a path that not many people come up, and they'd got to the edge here and there was no really any escape for them. It was a family, and there was 3 young billy goats. I managed to get a picture of one of the parents still with their white winter coat on. So this is a wee video, as always, a wee video of me talking about myself and my relationship to the world. But of late, when I've started talking about myself and my experience and my relationship with the world, people have started to come forward. Not huge numbers of people, but I'm having conversations, deep, meaningful conversations with people about their own experience being socialised in the dominant culture that we live in. And one of the very first things that the dominant culture does, I think I can see a mountain goat way over there in the distance. One of the first things that the dominant culture had to learn to do, and one of the first things that capitalism and neoliberalism and whatever you want to call it, its modern embodiment now, what it had to do was separate us from our land. And that doesn't, not in a nationalistic way, but the land that sustains you, the land that makes you whole, the land that allows these mosses and lichens to grow, the land that allows this wild mint down here to grow, and the colours, the profuse colours that the world allows us to see, the beauty that it shows us when we want to share with it. And I've discovered this site, I don't know, I've known about it for a while. I've been meaning to get more engaged with it for a long time, but over the last couple of weeks I've been up here more and more and more. And to me there's signs of the rabid deforestation there, and I tried to walk into it from a different way today, and I had a really nice chat with a woman who lives in Dundurn Cottage, and she said, you know, I couldn't in my right mind give you permission to go up that way because we're having a lot of problems right now because of right away. They've used the old disbanded railway. I laugh at that because the reason it's disbanded was it was always just a capitalist venture, and we've just spent £500,000 putting this line in, and you know, of course there's a lot of people that live around here that pay a lot of money to live around here, and Dundurn House is you know, got so much history. And I started talking to the woman about the clearances and how none of this land belongs to anybody. It's all of our land. Although on an individual basis, I'm not going to walk up to her and kick her out of her house. But the reality is, this is our land, and I wasn't allowed to walk up the way I wanted to. I wasn't allowed to experience this land the way that I wanted to experience it. I'm developing rituals and relationships with this land. The trees speak to me. I hug the trees now. The trees speak to me. The goats speak to me. The earth itself is speaking to me. And it's a deeply profound experience. And all of this is in the subtext of everything that I say about radical feminism and my experience with patriarchy. It's all there. And I don't really know what else to say at this precise moment in time. I joined Deep Green Resistance about a year ago, and I joined because of the work of Derek Jensen and Lear Keith. And I joined because when I read the words that they wrote, or I heard the words that they spoke about systems of oppression, and they talked about those hidden bars that no one else talks about. And that's what struck a chord with me. Any art or any writing in the past now, I can look back with hindsight and say that's why it was important to me, because systems of oppression are important to me. So I joined Deep Green Resistance. But one of the core principles of Deep Green Resistance is radical feminism. And when I joined Deep Green Resistance, I didn't fully understand what it meant to be a radical feminist. And it was quite an obscure thing to try and get your head round, especially because there was so much criticism of people like Lear and Derek, calling them nasty names, calling them transphobic, all sorts of slurs. So it took me a long time to figure out what was going on, really. But what was really important to me was what DGR were saying was that we had to strive to uproot patriarchy from our lives at an individual and collective level. And that really struck a chord with me in a big way, because that's what I'd been trying to do myself. You know, I'd been working, you know, I've always had these massive sexual hang-ups, and I've always blamed myself for them. But the words of radical feminism, the language that it allowed me to understand or articulate what was happening to me in a way that I lost my train of thought there, I'm really sorry. I'm trying to say too much. So, I've come back up here to collect gifts that the earth has given me. This is the second time I've been up here today. Pretty fucking beautiful, huh? Was it worth fighting for? Is those mountains worth fighting for? To allow trees to grow on them? The other side of this hill was a fucking golf course. It was one of the, and still is one of the most powerful sites on the fucking planet. And it's a golf course now. Some of my best friends are golfers. No, one of them. I don't have many friends. But the birds and the trees and the grass and the air and the water and the mountain goats and I was going to say wolves, but there are no wolves now. There are very few wildcats too. It's deeply sad. What we've done, what we've allowed. I was going to say what we had allowed to happen, but that really belittles our fight against it, and really belittles our resistance, because we've been fighting for a very, very long time. This isn't over by a long shot. I'm a radical indigenous warrior. I believe that people with bloodlines in Scotland should be saying that they are indigenous. We were colonised. We were murdered. We were raped. We were put on fucking boats and sent to America, and our lands were stolen by people now who can decide that I'm not allowed to walk on it. My family were eradicated. We became a sept of the Clan Drummond. We don't have our own tartan now. We're nobody. When I was growing up, I used to wonder why there was so few dokes with my spelling of name in the phone book. And it was a point of shame for me when I was a wee boy. Because everybody had common names, and everybody else, you know, you had to fit in, didn't you? Well, my name was a point of ridicule, doke. Lots of things about me were a point of ridicule. And the reason there are no dokes here is because we got put on fucking boats. After we fought and gave our blood and our lives, we were betrayed and we were hounded. I'm not going to say like cattle, because that disrespects our non-human brothers and sisters. But we were hounded and we were put on boats and we were sent to the New World. We the colonized became the colonizers. Decolonize your hearts and minds. Fight for what you fucking love. Don't let the liberals that say you can't say that or don't say that, don't let them fucking shut you down. They're trying to shut me down right now. Me! Ha! That makes me laugh. One man up in Scotland. If they're scared of me, they'll be scared of you. And if they're scared of us, there's very good reason for they're scared, because their security and their lives and their lives are not worth anything, and they're built upon fucking sand.